Welcome to the channel, and Collins here for the World Card Making Day YouTube collaboration. Our host is Shonna of Fraps and Scraps, and I'll be making this holiday card. I'll have everything linked for you in the description below as part of the collaboration. For our card today, I'll be using the Pajama Crafter's Hippo HoHo stamp set. I'm going to be using this little Santa hippo and the sentiment that reads, "Have a very happy Hippo holiday." Okay. I'm going to use VersaFine ink for my sentiment, Memento ink for my stamp image, because I'll be using alcohol markers to color them in. I'm using Olo markers, and I'm just showing you some of them here because I realized I didn't grab all my markers. You'll see. So I will also be using Barely Art liquid glue to adhere our card together, along with some foam adhesive. I have some alcohol-friendly cardstock here. This is Accent Opaque 80-pound cardstock. It's ultra smooth. That's what it is. It's perfect for alcohol coloring. I have my card base, 110 pound, and I have some cardstock here. This green cardstock is 110 pounds. It's been die cut with using a die from my stash. And then this dark red here, I die cut a circle and I used a scallop die to cut this lovely little scallop edge. And our pattern paper is from Simply Stories, and it's called Holly Days. So here it is, Simple Stories, Holly Days. This side has like a variety of Christmas icons with a pale blue background. This is the side we're going to be using. It's got that nice pale pink with the words HoHo and upper and lowercase in green, red, white, pink, and of course that pale blue that you saw previously. So I thought it went perfectly with our little hippo. So I cut that. Again, this is Simple Stories. So I use a die from my stash to trim this down to give me that perfect cute little scallop edge. And then I'm bringing out another circle die here. This is slightly larger than the white one. I'm sorry, slightly smaller than the red I used. And then a little strip here for my sentiment. All right, so I'm going to put all this to the side and then we'll get started. Just going to grab this little piece of cardstock for my sentiment. I'm going to go ahead and bring in my stamping platform. I had the sticky mat in here to hopefully hold my paper down, but I will use the magnets as well. So I'm going to place that little piece back. That's where I'm going to do my sentiment. And I'm going to bring in the little die that I'm going to use for the little hippo. This is the little hippo I'll be using in the sentiment. I'm going to center him as best as possible on this little, using the die as reference, just to make sure I leave enough space all the way around. I'm going to stamp him first and then I'll do my sentiment, but I'm just going to bring it in, make sure. Yep. All right. So I'm going to close the lid of my platform here, and then I'll grab my Memento ink and ink up the image. You want an alcohol-friendly ink if you're going to use alcohol markers. So I'm using the Olos today. So I'm using the Memento ink. I'm going to use this little stamp press little helper here, this little froggy. That's also from Pajama Crafters if you're interested. She has a variety of designs. All right, so I'm going to give it another stamp. Looks good. I'll flip this over and then I'll bring in my sentiment. Make sure it's the right way through, the right way. Use the magnets here to hold down my little piece. Mind my head. And then I'm going to use the VersaFine ink to stamp the sentiment. And of course it didn't stay down. So I have to try this again. I'm going to use, like I said, VersaFine Onyx Black for my sentiment. So I'm going to ink this up and stamp it. Most of the times I stamp this twice. So just to make sure it's nice and even. And I'm going to do it one more time. There we go. It should be good. Looks good. So now I will remove everything from my platform. There we go. Set my sentiment to the side. And then I will color my image. So I like to color on top of a clipboard with some cardstock on there. It just adds a little, it just keeps everything neater. All right, I'm going to start coloring our hippo. I'm going to use some cool gray markers here. I pulled out CG3 and CG5 for my little hippo. I'm just going to color him in really quickly. And then for his clothes, I'm going to use R markers, red markers. Oh my goodness. And I realized after I color him in that I didn't grab all my markers. I just was so eager to get started. So I'm just doing some quick two color blends here for the little hippo, putting in the darker color here just to bring in the shadow. And then I'll blend it all out again with the lighter marker. Some really easy, quick and easy, simple coloring. So here we go. I'm now bringing in the lighter one and blending it in. Oh, almost forgot his little ears. Now I have to do his little feet. There we go. Give him some shadows now and blend it out. Simple. And now I'm going to grab the R markers, and those are R05, R06 for his little outfit there, and then CG1, which is a cool gray one, to add just a little shadowing for the white parts of his little outfit there. So I'm going to start with the lighter red here first to fill in the area of the hat, and then I'll go in with the dark one to add in the shadows. I try to leave the marker caps on screen so that you can see them. So if you have all those and you feel like coloring this the same way, you can do so. So there you go, nice and easy. So I'm going to start doing the same thing now for his little outfit. So I start out with the light one, and then I'll go in with the dark color to bring in the shadows. So it's such a cute small image, though I figured 2 markers for each area would be plenty. Now, Pajama Stampers has a good variety of stamps and other things for you, so that if you're interested. Now, let me tell you a little bit about the World Cardmaking Day collaboration. We have a variety of YouTube crafters, or creators, I should say, that are participating in this. Basically, it's a hop. You go from one video to another, and you're going to find some beautiful inspiration. We're honoring World Cardmaking Day. I have a little blurb about it in the description. What is World Cardmaking Day and why it is available, or why it's nationally done, just so that you have an idea. There is a playlist. So if you go to Shonna of Fraps and Scraps, she's one of the hostesses, and she will have a whole playlist with every single creator in that playlist for you. All right, so back to the coloring. So I brought in a little bit of R02, which is a pale pink, to put on the cheeks and the inside of the ears. And then I'm going to blend that out again with our CG3 marker. Now I brought in a little bit of Y marker, which is for his belt. It's Y23. And then I also put in CG7 for his belt. And then for his little bag, I brought in some green markers, which is G04 and G05. Again, I will have all those markers listed for you in the description box below. I know I'm rambling them off, and that could be a little overwhelming, but everything that I'm using today will be linked in the description box below for you, if I have a link for it. As well as you'll find Shonna's, a link to Shonna's YouTube, so that you can find the playlist easily and then hop along and find all the inspiration from this hop or collaboration. So I did the same thing. I started with the lightest marker. Now I'm coloring in and following the drawings on, the lines of the drawing of the little thing, but of the little bag. But I added a few more little C kind of strokes to indicate that the bag is nice and full. Then I'll blend that out. We're almost done with our coloring. And now we're ready to cut our little guy out. So I'm just going to do a little bit of blending here and fixing. And then I'm adding a little bit of shadowing to the white parts of his little outfit here. Because although it's white, you want to add a little bit of shadowing with like a cool gray marker. So I have CG1, and that just gives that nice shadowing. It makes it pop even more. Now I'm going to bring in my Jelly Roll pen to add a little more detail and to clean up any little boo-boos. Because sometimes I stay within the lines, sometimes I don't. So right around his hat, I didn't. So I'm going to just use that to basically erase what I've done, where I came out. Right here by his booty, same thing. And then I'll add a few little highlights, little dots on his cheeks, a little dots in his little eye, a little highlight on his little hat, and highlight on the little bag. And there we have it. So that's all done with my jelly roll. And I like to use the number 10, just in case you were wondering. All right, I'm going to cut this, run this through my die cut machine, which is off screen because it's huge. And then I will come right back and we'll put our card together. Just like that, everything is ready. Let me clear away all these markers so they're not rolling all over my desk. And then we will start putting our card together. So here are all the components for our card. So here's our little hippo and our sentiment and everything else. So I'm going to make sure my card is facing the correct way. And we'll start by adhering the red cardstock scallop little border with the green one here. So I'm going to use a nice bit of Burley Art glue here to adhere this. Just going to grab my glue real quick. And I like to keep a rubber band on the base of my glue to keep that little foam. It's not a foam, it's a rubber tip that I use to close my glue with. So it just doesn't move and get in my way. So I got this here and I have the overhang and I'll just trim that off. Just going to make sure I glued everything down, pressing that in place. Grab my scissors and then I'll just trim away anything extra. Once I do that, I can get rid of all the everything else, and then we can adhere this to our card base. So we're making a landscape card today, and I'm just going to adhere this using some Burley Art again. And then I'll get that going. And I want to justify it more to the left so that my little scallops fit nicely. Try to keep it even top and bottom. And there we go. All right. So once that's on there, I will grab the pattern paper and I will do the same thing. I'm going to adhere it, justifying it more towards the left. And I like using liquid glue because it gives me that opportunity to adjust anything if needed. All right, so that's there. I'm going to put this heavy acrylic tile on top of it to hold it down to dry while we adhere our little hippo to the red cardstock circle. And then I'll flip it over and add some foam adhesive. So I'm going to grab all my little foam adhesive tabs and fill this back end here. I thought I had bigger foam adhesive, but I didn't. So we're going to do the tabs today. And then I'll just remove all the backing off of these little tabs. And then we can place this onto our card. This card came together pretty quickly. I recorded myself and it was done under 30 minutes. So not bad. That's with die cutting and all the fun stuff that comes with card making. All right, I'm going to do the same thing for our sentiment, put some foam adhesive, but I'm only going to put it on one end. So I'm going to wait 1 second because I don't, I'm going to tuck it just under our image. So I'm not sure if I want to put it completely popped up or just a little bit. So I'm going to just go ahead and adhere the sentiment flat. Change my mind because I don't want it to compete with our image. Let me line that up, press it in place. So our card, you can call it done, but I like to add a little bit more. So I'm going to add some tiny little gems here, and I'm going to pick some red ones. So I'm going to adhere them onto our card. Again, this is optional. If you're not a bling kind of person, then just omit that part. So I'm going to place one near the sentiment, one below our little hippo guy here, and one next to him, just to give him some, just, create that visual triangle so that your eye goes across, because your eye always catches something shiny before it catches anything else. So now our card is complete. Again, I'll show you what the products I used. I used the Pajama Crafters Hippo HoHo stamp set and a Simple Stories Holiday pattern paper. So these are the things I use along with cardstock and such. But I'll have all of it linked for you below. Most of all, I want you to hop along and check out everyone that created something wonderful for today's collaboration. Again, you start at Shonna's video YouTube channel, which is Fraps and Scraps. Go there. She'll link you to the playlist where you can see all the amazing cards that have been created for today's hop. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you found some inspiration. And here's another look at the card and the hop.